Good morning, everyone.
Blessed, beautiful Saturday.
Yeah, so we just wanted to turn on the camera as we eat our breakfast because so many times we have so many incredible conversations at our breakfast. So I just wanted to be, raw and allow our union to speak through this breakfast because especially this morning.
Well, before we even go into it, most people speed eat. Most people probably look at things when they eat. I'm guilty of that. Probably looking at the internet, Facebook, and everything else. But somehow when Honey and I sit and have breakfasts, they may go from hours of just talking deep conversations.
No, juju.
And then this bird comes flying in to say, I want to be a part of your journey. And really, it's amazing because we talk so
He likes eggs. Hold on a minute.
He wants to eat. Hi, Juju.
Juju, can we put you out, Juju?
Can we put you?
We love you, Juju, but we want to be able to.
We love you. We love you. I know you want to eat with us. I know you smell the food. It really looks good.
Juju wants to eat everything.
And I know, like, if I put a little egg in my mouth.
Put a little egg. Take it for him. Put it in his.
Feed an egg to a bird doesn't make sense.
But no one did research.
Really?
He likes it. Yeah, take a little bit. Put it on his plate.
Okay, gotcha. Well, you can.
Here, no, and then you can close his thing.
Yeah.
Close his. Here, go, Juju. Okay. That's our breakfast with Juju in it.
This is how you feed birds, by the way. You put food in your mouth.
Yeah.
And it eats.
So welcome to our breakfast. This is Michael has a session in a little while. We really have beautiful conversations. So today we have some arugula, eggs, almonds that are soaked. So we just welcome you into our morning here with some beautiful divine spiced tea from Earth Cafe that we love so much. Welcome. We did our prayer already around it.
Okay, Juju's in the cage.
That's great.
All right.
So we're just gonna welcome you to our usual conversation. So last night was a bit tough sleeping because we started watching this Netflix series. And we like watching some chick flicks. We enjoy lighter ones.
This isn't really a chick flick. This is.
No, we didn't know. It started out, I saw the trailer and I put it on. We really enjoyed it the night before.
What did you enjoy about the trailer? Why do you think I like it?
Well, Mexico. Beautiful Mexican woman,
This beautiful Mexican
But they were
woman.
beautiful Mexican.
The warmth.
The warmth, there were beach.
The beach.
There were palm trees.
The Espanol.
Oh, that's Spanish language.
The beauty of everything.
So I figured, we watched it and it was really wonderful. But last night, the 2 episodes, like it was really hard. It was just so interesting, the timing with the last 2 clients I've had, again, that had to do with sexual molestation and all of that. And then last night, the few things about rape and like my it was so interesting how you and I were both affected. Like I did sleep and I woke up and I couldn't get things out of my vision and I had a really hard time. That's why I grabbed my crystal and I started just going into my Christed body. This Christed energy is transmuting energy. I could feel like my field had gotten like really almost dirty, I want to call it. And I had a really hard time putting the images out, and I was like trying to not fight it so I don't create more of it, relax into it. So I was then working on shifting my image to other images, like baby bunnies or baby sheep or goats and stuff like that, and then the image would pop back in some of the scenes, and I was like, wow, it's amazing. I can handle, like, for example, we watched Money Heist. It's okay, not like that, but there are things like this where it's that violence towards the woman, like that, and then also the recognition this still is going on. It's been going on. It's going on, and it's some, you know, there's more sensitivity towards it, and then
the ability for us to also recognize that, as most of us do, you know, sometimes we feel so far removed from what lies in the shadows and in the depths of politics and gangs and sex trafficking and really the misuse and really the abuse of women. And when, you know, you see it, when I see it come full forth, it's such a profound lens that takes you right in there. And as much as you know, are kind of like woed by it, it affects your field, where it's almost like, wow, like look where sometimes the vibrations we focus on and how removed we are, how our consciousness is just so far in different dimensions of how we be each day, and then we allow ourselves just to do what normal people do, put on a Netflix series. It looks, in the beginning, it looks fun, it's sexy, it's romantic, it has all these hot scenes, and then before you know it, you're like, whoa, it's getting to a point that it impulses you. There's this anger that comes out. There's this feeling of like, you know, just sadness. And even me as a male, of being like, wow, when I was younger, I wasn't even aware of this. And even maybe I took part of you know, we say in Spanish, cabron, like that dude, that masculine kind of superior behavior, which in a way we use it in a way of kind of like, hey, you freaking dude, or fucking dude. It's like that badass, that tough, that gangster, that, you know, I'm tough. But you know, when it's taken to the next level, you're like, oh wow, like, you know, you're not aware of how far it extends to the actions it portrays, and how it affects women and their emotional health and their mental health, and just the psychiatry that we've seen in this video, and just the darkness.
It's done very well.
Oh my gosh, it's like real.
And I felt what was for me, Michael, middle of the night last night, it was just this awareness, like how far you and I are from. I mean, what hurts or what's disturbing is the vibration mismatch, right? So here we are, as we shared, like here, like yesterday, we have this cute love, preciousness. It's so pure, it's so beautiful, it's so, you know, there's this love, like, and everything we saw was the opposition of love. And that's why it was so hard to fathom. And I feel what brought up for me was that energy when I first came to Earth as a child, experiencing what is this environment? It's missing love, the love that I know to be so real. Like, what is this? Like, oh, it's so yucky. And so it's been this journey of like changing my life to the way that I know to be true, create an environment of love.
And also protecting yourself. Do you remember yesterday morning we were having a deep conversation, and I was saying I came out crying because I was meeting all of these limited beliefs within me, and I was saying, honey, when I was a child, I was so filled with love that I'd be that kind of little kid that would just hug people and just go up and just look at them with great innocence and purity. And it was almost like that love was rejected so easily that it hardened my shell. It created this like protection around my heart. And I was like, wow, I felt like the world was just too cruel or too harsh, right, to fit in a certain box or these regulations, when all I wanted to do was just run around and enjoy life and just feel the softness, the lightness, the fun, the play, the bliss, the joy, the excitement in ways that was just like so open. And because I was so open, it was almost like life showed me how to close up, because by being too open, people were like, you got to protect yourself. You got to be careful. If you're that open, you can get yourself in trouble. You know, you can put yourself in vulnerable situations. You know, as a male, it's not as much as a female, because obviously in this world, it's sometimes.
But wasn't it interesting, this scene last night, as you're speaking? Like, there was a part where the girl is, you know, the guy's forcing himself into her room to try to rape her, and then she when
She took the mace.
she took the mace. But anyway, when the other lady's like, why don't you report him? She's like, what am I gonna say? Like, oh, you wore a skirt or you wore a shirt like this, so you invited that in.
She was depicting the scene.
Yeah.
She was depicting the scene that why report it? Because usually in a masculine environment, if you go report it, sometimes the story's changed back on you. Why were you wearing that outfit? Why were you edging him on? Why were you leading him on? Because a lot of times it's reversed in a way that you want to do something.
You brought this over to you because you provide. I mean, like it's like nothing, but there's that voice of the feminine.
Right.
But what I really like about it is interesting. It's called There's 5 sisters. So there's this divine. You can see like the movie. I'm actually looking forward to see. I'm getting truth bombs. What will happen, because I feel there's this rise of this divine feminine power that's portrayed in here, but it's like showing the darkness of it, that it has to get a voice and get out, and what it's facing, and that really plays exactly what's been on earth. That's why we came here. That it is that rise of the divine feminine, and the masculine, when they open up that divine feminine in them, they treat themselves differently, which translates in them treating women differently, treating animal differently, treating earth differently, because it opens up in that place. And these things happen because it's been so shut. Just dominate the power.
It's powerful.
It's pretty dark.
I mean, when you can depict a series where you bring sex, drugs, politics,
sex trafficking,
rape, and I mean, and all of it, and again, it's something that we didn't realize what we were getting into, but because we're into it, and obviously, I feel part of it is also for us to, it's
get out of our bubble a little bit,
and move into it, because there is that there is
get out of our
we get out of our bubble, and part of it is like people have made fun of me, like it's not all peace, love, and light. It's like you can shine peace, love, and light, which obviously is our intention, but there are dark areas that we need to not only become aware of, but we have to feel it. We have to see it. We have to, for those that, not everyone, but for those that are, really transmuting these energies, when we're taken to the deepest, darkest, really specific areas, then I feel like it refines us even more to see how we can just bring awareness to it, bring consciousness to it, and bring a sense of acceptance that, we just can't be in this bubble and everything is of high vibration. It's meeting these lower frequencies, these lower vibrations.
So I don't know if I feel that way. I feel it's a total dimensional vibration difference.
Becoming aware, what my point is becoming aware of it is like not putting the glasses down and ignoring it. That's what I'm saying. Like it's not like it's our job to go into the mafias and go with theirs, but what I'm saying is it's also a sense of just bringing awareness to what's happening, because if people are not aware of the sex trafficking, people are blinded to the manipulation of politics, or if people are just kind of like in the clouds and not fully keen of like, wow, there are other things that are happening, to me it's kind of like you're not seeing the full picture. And just, it's my own perspective, it's important just to be conscious that these things are out there, and they have been out there. Not only have they been out there, but they're involved in our, Hollywood, politics, and every other area. So it's not meant for everyone, but I believe, that awareness is clear to really help, shift these lower frequencies.
It was interesting. I was sitting with this morning in the meditation. Why was this picked, this series for us to watch this past couple of days? And vibrationally, what is in my field that is showing up in this way? And it was interesting, happened to be the last 2 days the clients have had with one with father sexually molesting the girl, the other one authority of school sexually molesting the girl. And to different ones, and then here it is, and it is an area that it's not, I feel those of us especially who've been sexually molested and all of that in this incarnation, we've had to raise our vibration in healing that, and recognizing, being on the other side of it after the healing, to see the divine perfection and which lens is looking at it. I was having this exact conversation with my client yesterday. I said, she's in this place where she can see what took place with her father, or she can see the divine perfection of it, and it doesn't have that. And so we got a chance to share that, and from the lens of this vast lens, it will see this very differently, and from this human lens, we're going to see this very differently. So when I was sitting in my presence meditation today, I said, what was strong to me? Why? I really knew it wasn't for me to go into the darkness and clear that energy, because I had done that for many years. What was being shown to me is that I'm in a complete different frequency field, and continue the frequency of it, because I'm creating this vibrational reality of where we are. For example, you and I, this love, that this is the vision that I'm focusing in creating, being more co-created.
Sure.
Many years my energy was focused on exactly that.
Yeah.
And that didn't feel right to me either, because it didn't make me feel good, and it was just a lot more of feeling the sadness and all of that collective clearing. So much I did through my body for the woman and the children. I mean, this is like years, 15 years of it. So ever since January of this past year, it's almost a year, this presence meditation, and this morning I really received that, in which has been like what we saw in the movie. These have already been created on earth, because it is also the individual actions that are in separation of divinity that is creating so much of this. It's already been created. It's like old story, it's done already. But this, if I'm focusing on that, I'm going to create more of it. I'm focusing on here, so I'm creating the beautiful world of this beauty we get. Respect, being touched properly, being loved, in love making, that beautiful sensual sexual energy, not the abuse, not power, not domination. So love, collaboration. So that's where my energy is focused, and I know your energy is focused in there. So seeing that last night was just like, oh wow. It was the appreciation of what many are still focusing on, and the appreciation of where I'm choosing to focus the energy. I saw it, it didn't feel good, definitely not. Yet I'm aware somewhere in this plot, something is gonna shift that will communicate this rise of these women.
Mm-hmm.
And it is that rise, and it is the rise of the woman on the entire planet anyway. So, and for me not to get hooked on that, because I did have struggled getting the scenes out of my head.
Yeah. Well, there's still, part of it is, and when I said like to be aware of it, the conscious journey is everyone has their, like you said, you've already taken part in that level of it. Everyone has a choice of where they choose to put their attention is. And when I said we have to, it's not more of an absolute. For those that choose to want to, place awareness on it, that's great. Those that want to hold the vibration, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
There's so many different levels of where we're at, and I feel a lot of us can resonate of like, well, I just want to stay in this higher level, because this other level, it just doesn't feel right, because I want to just focus on being the example, being the role model, being the being that is now creating what we know as the new earth.
But let me ask you a question. I love what you're saying, but have you noticed how some people say, well, that's spiritual bypass?
Well,
And I don't resonate. Do you feel like that would be spiritual bypass in your opinion?
Well, I feel it would only be spiritual bypassing if those feelings and those vibrations within yourself are ignored and suppressed, and there's no acknowledgement of it. Because then we would just be holding something for another date to be like, okay, now I'm ready to see it. Which, sometimes if there is a positive to spiritual bypassing, until you can actually be at a place where you can handle that and it doesn't pull you down and doesn't take you to places where some people could go into psychosis or go into psychological disorders because they may not be ready to hear that. But at the same time, it also may be an opportunity for people to say, where are you at in your readiness to perceive what it is out there? Because, we know cognitive dissonance, which is a huge level of where people hear no evil, see no evil. I'd rather just focus on this path of light and love. And that's okay too, because if people just want to hold the highest vibration, the highest light, we need those people too. We need people to hold that.
See, that's why I wanted to.
Yeah. So in the spiritual.
So there isn't this thing like, because there's so much judgment, in the spiritual community, that no, you have to put all your energy in the children that are in the tunnels right now, and this and that, and there's such a judgment to individuals that want to hold that higher vision. Or vice versa, all kinds of things. And I feel what's important at the end of the day, what did you receive? What did I receive? Like, we didn't get much sleep last night, but it was funny how it translated in my dreams also differently. And then it was the war, like the military and coming to it was so funny, Michael, in my dream, me with the machine guns, like commander-in-chief. Again, I was back in that outfit, taking charge and taking down.
Masculine role. It's interesting how that.
But I was a female.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
This time I wasn't a masculine.
Okay, gotcha.
This time I was, because mostly when I'm in the military, I'm always a male.
Okay.
This time I was actually a female.
I feel for me, it just draws, as a male, like I said, growing up, the whole sexology of.
But as a male, tell me about because you watched that together with me. Yeah.
Growing up as a male and just the whole ideas of culture, of Hollywood, of modeling, of men being constantly shown of how amazing this idea of sex is, and how sex has been this almost like fantasy.
And the pornography
in the pornography industry, where all of a sudden you're immersed into it, because the culture of being a teenager is always like, oh wow, look at that beautiful woman, or oh wow, look at that, because of just the emergement of everything you can imagine, from movies to magazines to not even just pornography, just the hypnotism of what television does to you, and what the way to be a man, to have a girlfriend, to do these things to show that you are macho, you are cabron, you're in this way. So for me, I feel like the biggest gift of watching is it allows me as a conscious adult to bring compassion to really the victims and the individuals that have received that in a deeper way, that now I can really acknowledge it because of working with so many individuals that have gone through the experience. At the same time, it allows me also, which I did in my morning meditation, is to forgive myself in the role that I played as a teenager, where if I ever misabused my role by the way my eyes looked at, or the way I may have said stuff, and I wasn't nearly as bad as what I've seen as my friends, because I was very respectful, yet I also know I was in groups, and I was in friendships, and I was in support of people that probably did actions that today I would call very, very immature, unconscious. So it's a layer process of seeing how important it is to go back and forgive myself, and forgive and really ask for forgiveness to all, like really sending out the prayer to, like, for any women that I may have misused my language, or I may have misused my actions, or I may have, been under the influence of alcohol or drugs that may have created.
Wouldn't it be great if you do that with like the young boys? I'm thinking.
You just hold that thought. Hold that thought.
I
know, but just don't cut me off. Hold the thought.
I'm sorry.
So that I can allow that forgiveness to move through me
Yeah.
and bringing a clearance, because sometimes there's this guilt and shame that feels underneath of like, here I am, thriving in a way of a sacred masculine to depict the behavior and I'm modeling because it just feels like this is my call. I'm not doing it by a label, a story, or a reputation or ego. I'm doing it because this is what feels God is calling through me. And so as I go through that, it's then witnessing those areas within me and be like, wow, look at my teenage years. Look at when I was in college. Oh my gosh, when I was in a fraternity and just the things that, guys would talk about and just the, when I look back at those ages, and of course we've all gone through there, and we have to go through there, and we have to see these things. So if anything, this is a visual for me to be like, oh wow, it is beautiful to see a sexy body. Now, can I see the sexy body and enjoy it just for the beauty of it and acknowledging of it, but not have to go back in my teenage years and then take it a step further? Can one just observe it and witness it, but not have to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm a bad person because there's a beautiful body and I'm like, wow, that's beautiful, versus trying to have that inner fight of like, oh gosh, it's so disgusting to stare at how vulgar that is. So there's a lot of judgment that's being cleared. Most important, compassion, and I feel reflection to give the opportunity for me to say, it's okay that I went through that phase. And now I can draw more consciousness to forgive my actions to myself and to others.
So beautiful. So beautiful. Today I had a short talk with Nevon this morning before he left. And there's that, I always talk to the boys, like Kieran and Nevon, to just around all of this, like that we have such an open conversation about, they know so much, especially around sexual abuse and all that. They just have a lot more sensitivity. And I love how Nevon said today, it affects me emotionally. Like I don't watch certain things. Like he's become so fine-tuned in that.
Which is a huge shift.
Huge shift, ginormous shift. And the other part of it, the other part that I feel is important is when you have that awareness to be able to like really be able to have groups for this age, that younger, late teens, early adults, to be able to have this conversation. I watched this and I want to talk about it, or put it on a video. Hey, listen, I want to talk about this. Here's what, as a man, this is what went through me. And I feel as more begin communicating, that's what begins to shift things around. There's a lot of value in that.
Well, thank you, love, for
beautiful breakfast as always. But usually we get into these conversations and.
So honey this morning says, do you want to put on the video? And I said, sure, I can put on the video. It's always nice to share. It's not always about the beautiful Persian donuts that I love to eat. It was delicious. It wasn't just jelly donut. My apologies for all the Persians that I may have accidentally stepped on their toes. Tara, Ida, I love you. A little inside joke if you see the video before, but it's a blessing to share these deep conversations. I love you, honey. Thank you.
Salamati to New Earth, darling.
Yeah.
Really. We're gonna watch it tonight now.
Earlier.
So
she was reading.
Meditate.
She was reading Bringers of Light. I was meditating in bed. We were like, wow. We were talking about what to do before going to bed. Bring the yin and softening the night, and bringing peace before you go to bed. And we did the opposite. But we're still human.
Thank you for being breakfast with us and letting our union speak to you. Love you all. Bye bye.
Have a beautiful day.